Okay, we're going to talk about the nitrogen cycle. You need to be in your notes on page 16, and you can pause the video as we go on so that you can fill in your notes at your own pace. All right, nitrogen cycle. This is more complex than the carbon cycle or the water cycle or any other cycle we talk about. It involves other organisms, and that would be bacteria. They are a critical part of the nitrogen cycle. In the atmosphere, there is a lot of nitrogen. 78% of the air that we breathe is nitrogen. But this is an inert form of nitrogen. It's not usable by plants or animals. I want you to think just a minute, why do plants and animals need nitrogen? If you said it was to make amino acids so that proteins could be made and to make nitrogenous bases so that DNA could be made, then you're correct. So nitrogen is very important. So this nitrogen in the atmosphere, a lot of it, has to be fixed in order to be in an available form for plants and animals to use. Okay, so in the atmosphere, there's two ways that nitrogen can be fixed. And it gets fixed into a form called nitrates or ammonium. Lightning is the first way. Lightning is a natural way that nitrogen gas, N2, can be fixed to nitrates. A second way is through a bacteria called nitrogen-fixing bacteria. They live in a symbiotic relationship in root nodules of legumes. An example of a legume plant would be a soybean. Any plant that has high protein levels are usually legumes. So now this nitrogen is in a fixed form called nitrate. Plants can use this. This is a good thing. So we're going to go to the inner loop now, and we're going to talk about how plants can assimilate nitrates. So nitrogen in the form of nitrates. Plants bring nitrogen in through the roots. They can absorb it. They can use it, and then animals will eat the plants. And then animals are going to excrete nitrogen in the form of urea, and as plants and animals die, they decompose, and the nitrogen, the urea form or ammonia form of nitrogen goes into the soil. So then we have decomposers take over to eat the dead or dying or waste products of plants and animals. These are aerobic and anaerobic bacteria and fungi. They take that waste nitrogen and through the process of ammonification change it to ammonium. It's another form of nitrogen. That's all ammonium is. Then we have our third kind of bacteria, nitrifying bacteria. Change ammonium back to nitrates. They do this through a process of nitrification. Okay, now we're back to nitrates again. So that inner loop can go on and on and on as far as the nitrogen cycle goes. But now we need to think, how can nitrogen get back to the atmosphere so the cycle can eventually continue? This happens through another kind of bacteria called denitrifying bacteria. The process is called denitrification, taking nitrate and changing it back to nitrogen gas. So then it's back in the atmosphere, and the cycle can continue. So you can see how important all of these different types of bacteria are to the nitrogen cycle. You don't need to know the names of the bacteria, but you do need to know some of the processes. So ammonification, denitrification, nitrogen fixation, and nitrification. So you need to know those terms, and they're defined for you in the next few slides.